Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, the hub where we take the concepts of science from complex to simple. I'm David right here, the billionaire teacher, and on today's episode of Question for the Day, what we're dealing with is a question that has to do with the gas laws, particularly the ideal gas law. So the question starts off by saying, what volume, will 2.5 moles of oxygen gas occupy at a temperature of 27 degrees Celsius and a pressure of 1.2 atmospheres? Now they've given us a head start by asking us to use the ideal gas constant R to be 0.0821 dm cube per atmosphere per mole Kelvin. Alright, so this tells us that volume has to be measured in dm cube, pressure measured in atmospheres, and temperature measured in Kelvin. So the ideal gas formula says PV is equal to nRT. This is the formula. P stands for pressure, V for volume, N for number of moles, R for the ideal gas constant, and T for temperature. So let's go ahead and impute our values. P has to be measured in atmospheres, okay? P is 1.2 atm. So that's settled. Next is our volume, which is what we were asked to find. Volume will be measured in dm cube. And then we have number of moles, N, 2.5. And then we have R to be 0.0821. And then finally we have temperature, which is 27 degrees Celsius. But hold up, our temperature is to be measured in Kelvin, not degrees Celsius. So instead of 27, we're going to change it to degree Kelvin by adding 273. So when we add 273, it becomes 300 degree Kelvin. Now we can impute our variables into our formula. We have 1.2 times V, which is what we're looking for, will now be equal to 2.5 times 0.0821 times the temperature, which is 300. So V will now be equal to 2.5 times 0.0821 times 300, all divided by 1.2. So we have V will now be equal to, when we multiply all of this, 2.5, 0.0821 and 300, we end up with a value of 61.575. So let's write that out real quickly. 61.575. 61.575 divided by 1.2. So when we do that division, we have 61.575 divided by 1.2. We end up with 51.313. So V will now be equal to 51.313 dm cube. I'm sure you saw all the steps that we took. We simply brought out the formula, the ideal gas formula, which says PV is equal to nRT. We imputed our variables and we arrived at V, which is equal to 51.313. 51.313 dm cube. Subscribe and follow for more. I'll definitely see you in the next video. It's been David, the billionaire teacher.